We in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Who they in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earned our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, hit the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the pounce, make the city howl. Now we feasting now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle. When we flex that, who they muscle on them. Stripes. Cincinnati, we gon' rise and up. In the jungle, we unite and up.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a wonderful episode. Wonderful because one of my co-hosts isn't here right now. That's what makes it so great. But, hey, he's got to give me a lot of crap whenever I'm not on. So I'm going to go ahead and return the favor tonight. In his place, we've got the man, the myth, the legend, part of Rally Round the Natty, Cincy James, everybody. Cincy James, thank you for coming on and being the backup for Dale today.
Absolutely, anytime.
And then, of course, the reason why everyone is here tonight, the man, the myth, the Cincinnati Bengals.com legend, Mr. Geoff Hobson. Geoff, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, fellas. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, this is a drinking podcast, so I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know I am sipping on a little bourbon tonight. James, what are you sipping on over there?
I'm just drinking on some Bud Light Next, trying to watch them carbs.
Absolutely. Geoff, you got anything? You got anything interesting over there?
I got a Narragansett, the old.
Oh yeah,
beer.
Yeah. Those are good right. Stuff right there. Well, I guess we can dig right into the meat of the show, or start things off the rip. What's your guys' thoughts? And then we'll start off with Geoff and then circle around. But what was y'all's thoughts on the first half of the season and kind of where the Bengals started and kind of where they've ended up last week?
Go ahead, James. Go ahead. It's your show.
I'm a guest too, Geoff. You start us out. You start us off.
I guess everybody's thinking, what it could have been. You think about those 3 losses at the gun, and some game. You figure maybe 7-2. 7-2, maybe at the worst 6-3. So I think there's a lot of what might have been, but I think also too, you just the defense is as advertised. That's been really good. I think people thought we were going to be on defense, and Burrow is as good as ever, and I think they felt like the offensive line was going to take some time to get in sync. They redid the thing. They remade it. 4 new guys up there. One of them a rookie. So I think that's obviously been a work in progress. And that seems to be coming together. The thing, I guess the thing is, you throw the Cleveland game in there, and people kind of get a lousy taste. But if you look at it big picture, they won 5 of the last 7. 2 of the last 2 home games have been routes. So I think they, despite those three tough losses, I think they're in pretty they're in pretty good shape. But I guess I'm thinking, there's 10 teams for 7 spots, right? So, here we go.
Yeah.
Is that am I hearing a ringing? Or
that is my that's our microwave going off.
Okay, I muted myself too, just in case. I wasn't sure.
Okay, let me I'll mute that then. I'll mute myself and get a little help in the kitchen.
Okay.
All right.
Oh man.
Well, my take, really, the roller coaster of a ride that this season has been so far. The letdown of the first 2 weeks, and then we kind of get it back together and we start righting the ship a little bit, and then it comes right back down. Really, the offense is really starting to catch its stride. If we can stay balanced the way that we did last week, with the Joe Burrow doing his thing, and then you got Joe Mixon just absolutely running like a man on a mission. If we can keep them doing those two things, goodness, it's going to be scary for everybody else. Like Joe Burrow said, if we run the ball like that, there's not a team in the league that can beat us. So, and obviously Coach Lou, I think he did a really good job keeping the defense's head up after that Cleveland game, because they had a lot of reasons to not feel very good about themselves, especially with injuries and stuff like that, giving up all those yards. And then to turn it around against the Panthers and absolutely dominate that game. It was nice to see that Lou got his backups ready to play and ready to do some damage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see if we can get Geoff.
Jeff, you want to unmute?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
I still don't have help in the kitchen yet, but I agree with you. I mean, I agree with you. Clearly, if Mixon plays like that and they can run like that, I mean, it's like shooting fish in a barrel for Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I mean, that's if they're going to insist on running the ball like that, that's a look. I mean, the guy's already completing 70% of his passes.
Yeah,
with
monster.
Like the 20th run game in the league or whatever it has been. So I mean, if they go up any further, that's going to be. Think of those numbers of him. To me, that's the amazing thing is his completion percentage.
Yeah.
He led the league last year. He's at 70% again. I mean, that's just. You can't buy that. And if you throw in a running game with that,
Yeah, and I think somebody, I'm not sure here who it was. I can't point very well. Pointed this out, but I guess the last time the Bengals led in a half that much was, you said December 1st, 1968, right, against the Boston Patriots.
Yeah.
And that was the year.
Yeah. I thought it might be in 1970. I think it was the year that they lost 6 straight and they still won the division, and that was the last game of the year.
Yeah, that was. I looked it up. After I heard or saw where you said that, and first thing I was thinking was, how in the world does this guy, like? How does your brain just process this stuff and be like, you know what? When was the last time this happened? And when?
Yeah, well, it does a great job with that. Jay Morrison probably beat me on that. The athletic guy is great with stats, but there might have been something spiritual about that stat, Derek, because it was the old Boston Patriots that they did it against. So maybe that was one of my teams growing up. Well, actually, my team growing up was the Giants, and I didn't become a Patriots fan until until they became New England. So
okay.
But that was 1970 was the Boston Patriots. And if I'm not mistaken, Joe Cap was their quarterback, which was a reason they were probably up 35-0. So he was at the end, Joe Cap.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Well, James, did you have anything for Geoff? I saw one of our co-hosts had a question for you. Dale's in the chat here. He's wanting to know, Geoff, do you have anything exciting going on for the bye week? Any salsa dancing or anything like that? You guys are
I'm on with you guys, but I'm going to
the highlight.
Going to spend some time here with my wife, who I don't see enough of during the. Hey, doll, come here and say hello to the folks.
When I met you guys, that was the first thing I thought was like, you guys are.
There's the doll.
Hi guys.
So that's
hi.
So we're gonna go see one of my daughters, and I just became a granddad for the second time.
Oh, hey,
awesome! Congrats!
Yeah.
Yep. Cheers to
so
that.
There's a lot of stuff going on. What are you guys doing? I mean, I think we got to watch the Steelers and the Saints, I guess.
Yeah, I did a.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big one.
Just we're sponsored by Betfred now, so I'm trying to get back into my gambling mood. So I did a 5-team parlay this week that did not include the Bengals. So
yeah,
doing that kind of thing, watching a little Red Zone, a little bit of hunting, that kind of stuff. So
It's a relaxing when they don't play, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so much more real. Well,
Yes.
now when they don't play at home, I end up having to work on Sundays, so that's still not very relaxing. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's a lot less tense. We'll say that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting. That back nine is going to be the back eight, I guess, is Josh Allen coming in, Mahomes coming in, going to Brady and Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be it's going to be quite a month of December in January.
It's definitely rough, and that kind of leads me into a question here. So, we've got this gauntlet that we've got to go through in the second half of the season. So, it's kind of a two-part question. Who do you think is, besides Joe Burrow, is the most important player for the rest of the season for the Bengals? And then also, who also needs to step up the most? Is there that could be the same person? I don't know, but what's your thoughts on that?
Probably, I'm thinking the same thing. Probably you guys are Mixon. I would have to say Mixon is. If he's gonna, if he produces like that, and he has. If you look at his MO down through, he's had great Novembers and Decembers, even when they were struggling. Even when his quarterbacks were. Even when it was Dalton and Finley and some of those guys and Driscoll, he still put up numbers. So I think his in November, December, he averages 4.6 per. I think he's averages 84. He averages pretty much 83, 84 games in both months. So, he's a guy you're looking at, and obviously, I guess because he just coming off what he did against Carolina, but defensively too, I think guys that kind of they're going to have to with Mahomes and Brady and all these guys. You look at Cam Taylor-Britt, a rookie going to be under the gun, right away. How does he's going to be a key guy, how he responds. Eli Apple, I think those guys on the back end, they're going to be huge again. Bates and Bell. You go back and you look in the big games last year. Those guys, that back end was huge. Some of those big picks, some of those big plays.
Right.
You can go back in every playoff game and see something those DBs did to win the game. So I kind of I'm looking at those guys. Cam Taylor-Britt, can he step up for Louisier? That's a tough injury. I mean, Louisier, I think he's probably, he's played like a Pro Bowl corner ever since he's been here. That's a huge loss, but I think that's what good teams do. They replace guys like that. I'm sure glad we drafted Cam Taylor-Britt the second round.
Yeah. Now, Crypt Keeper up here had a question for you. He wanted to know if you knew anything about the early '90s and the year they wore the all white jerseys.
Yeah, I don't. I covered those teams maybe, but I didn't even. I'm clueless on that. I was. It's a good question. I'm not sure why they did that. I don't. And that's news to me, and I cover those teams. So I'm a bad uniform guy.
Yeah,
I'm not. I really don't. And they come out with these great PJ Combs and Kyle Williams, our PR guys. They come up with these great. These great notes on these uniforms, all the combinations and everything. And I tell you, I'm not up to snuff as I should be on that stuff, I guess. But we got some great combinations on. I know the last couple of weeks they've worn stuff they've never worn before. And if I'm not mistaken, I think they're going to roll out the white stuff this week. I think, right?
Yeah. Oh, is this week back to the white Bengals?
What a great look that is! I mean, that is a great look.
It was supposed to be for the primetime game, and then it got flexed out. So 4:25, which still after about 5:15, it's going to be dark. It's going to be under the lights anyway. So I mean, it's still going to look great.
That's right.
Yeah,
no, that's
my
right.
favorite time of the year. I can go out and go hunting and still get him, at a decent hour.
That's That's you're right, because it will be. You're right. It is basically a night game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great look, and it's a great. That's a good game to put it in too, I think, because because where it's at too. It's always good to It's the first time they have not been in Hines. I don't know what the name of that place is.
Acrisure.
Yeah.
Or however you say it.
Yeah, that's going to be hard to write.
Sounds like,
for some reason it was easier to, maybe because we're there every day, it was kind of made the change from PB to Paycor wasn't that hard to do. Maybe it was because of P, but
yeah.
These places you go to where when you're only there once a year, you forget and you.
Yeah, that sounds like the name of an Amish bandwagon or something like that. I don't know.
I tell you though, it's amazing that Watt's going to be back. I forgot. I was just reading about him coming back playing the ones. Forgot how dominating. Not forgot, but I mean, how dominating he was in that opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a pick. Yeah, he had a sack. He had 3 tackles, like 3 tackles for loss.
That was a heck of a pick too.
Yeah, it was. It was, but I think the hope is, they get the probably, the running game looks to be in a lot better shape than it was then.
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, our co-host had another question for you. Are you a beer, wine, or whiskey guy?
Oh, I'm a beer guy. Yeah.
Beer guy.
I'm a beer guy. And I'm barely a beer guy too.
It's all right.
What do you get there? That whiskey there, Derek? Is that a whiskey you got?
Yeah, this is a bourbon. This is my cheap bourbon. I get this for about $30 a handle. It's one of my go-tos.
Yeah, you should, James. You're down in bourbon territory, aren't you? But you're drinking.
Yeah.
James
I'm in literally the name of the county is Bourbon County.
Oh, okay.
And that is the name of the county that I live in, and you would think that it'd be easy to get the hard to get stuff because all the distilleries are right around here, but no, it's harder, a lot harder. Yeah, it took me a long time to get this stuff. These are all different types of Weller, and it took me forever.
Boy, you'd think it'd be you like you said, you thought there'd be a place on every corner.
Oh yeah. But what I was going to say was there was so you were talking about the run game and T.J. Watt being back next week. 2 guys that I think that really need to step up are our tackles. We need Lyle Collins and we need Jonah Williams to step up and really start bull rushing some people and sealing off the edge and protecting Burrow. The pass rush has been really bad off the edge.
Yeah. I think Collins is starting to get his feet actually. I think he's looked better. I think the last month. I think Jonah's been up and down. I think sometimes Jonah looks great, and then other times he doesn't look so good. And I thought he played well. I thought he played well against. He was really. You talk about a guy having a down game. You talk about the defense coming back. I thought Jonah came back and played well. I mean, he. Now, granted, Carolina doesn't rush like Myles Garrett, but I thought he was really good in the run game. So, I think they'd like to get him more consistent because I think when he's playing well, he's doing, he does fine. But, but also a lot of guys struggle against Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt too. He's not one of them. So, I think, but I do think that the run game, I think, will help everyone. I think if it's back to where it is close to being like that, that's going to help Jonah and Collins. Yeah,
I agree. And we've heard some rumors and some pretty big names talking about Jamar Chase possibly being back next week. Yeah. Have you heard anything?
No, I have not. I just, going off what everybody else did. Well, they didn't put him on IR.
Yeah,
that must mean they think he can be back for Tennessee.
I thought maybe we could get something out of you. No.
I don't know. Believe me, they see me with it. A lot of these guys, even in my own building, they see me coming and run the other way. So, they don't want that. They don't want that out there. But I guess we're all and if he's not back for Tennessee, then I guess maybe maybe Kansas City. But we're all going off the assumption since they did him on IR, that they didn't put him on IR. He's going to be able to come back before 4 weeks, which is good news. Yeah. I it's always frightening when you hear it's a hip,
Right. Yeah. Now, Dale was wanting to know, do you think there's any chance that the knee is still bothering Jonah? Because it was a dislocated kneecap, which back when I played basketball, we had actually 2 guys in the same year of our ball team dislocated their kneecap, and they were part of the starting five, and it was ridiculous, and it seemed like it took them a little while to get used to
I
that.
thought he played. I thought he played pretty well. The game he hurt it, I thought he played pretty well. In the next game, I thought he played pretty well. I get it, but I can't imagine that it's not having some kind of an impact on him. I mean, a dislocated kneecap, like you said. I mean, that's you had one. I can't imagine that is helping you as you're trying to fend off Myles Garrett. I can't imagine that's you're at 100%. But
physically or mentally.
Yeah. I mean, but like I said, I thought he played pretty good when he first did it. So, I think it should really. He's a tough guy, and he's really, and it's really weird. I thought, I kind of forgot about that because I just actually wrote about that, the counter play that worked that they popped for 29 yards. I think that's one of Jones. One of the things that he can do is he's athletic and he can get out in space and block like that, trap pull. I mean, and that was and even the play before that, he moved the other way. He moved to his left on that on a 2-yard pitch to Mixon for the touchdown, and then on that 29-yard counter, I mean, he came out of there, blew that guy off, and it's funny. I forgot he had the knee, So I don't know, man. He's playing with. I don't know if he's bionic or what, but he has. I don't think he's missed a snap since he did that.
I don't think so. And maybe the bye week is just what the doctor ordered for him. A little rest, kind of let it heal up a little bit, and maybe we'll see like you're saying, he has played pretty decent here in the past few weeks. Maybe gets back to last year, Jonah. Really
well. I think too. And he said this a couple weeks ago. If you get a lead, that changes the life of a pass rusher. One of the reasons, one of the reasons Myles Garrett had a big day is that was they were either tied or they were ahead.
Yeah.
And if you play with a lead, Jones looks, like any left tackle or any right tackle, they're going to look a little better, And so another reason to, I think this is something that Zach has really, he's really emphasized that, particularly after, they got in a hole. You remember, they spent the first month. It seems like they spent the first month of the season down double digits. And he really has emphasized to his team, we got to get out there, so much to the point that they've bagged, deferring, which is a pretty good idea because they've played pretty well, I think, since that. I mean, I think he thinks, he knows his team. I think Zach does a nice job knowing his team, getting a feel for games. I think he does a real good job of that. And I think he says this team, and he said it to me, the other day in this story there, the Q&A I do with him every week. We play what, we play when we get ahead, we're hard to be. They do not, nobody comes back on these guys.
Right. Absolutely.
And I think that's how they play. And they've also erased some pretty good deficits in his era. But no, they play. They don't seem to blow many leads. And you flip that around. Look at the team they're chasing. The Ravens have blown 3 double-digit leads, right?
They have.
So it's a, it is. I really see them. That's really emphasizing that. I think just because that's how they. Some teams play like that, and tackles have struggled a little bit. It's. Get ahead, help them out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now we got another question for you in the chat here with talk of Lou getting head coaching jobs and stuff like that. Do you think Callahan has a good shot as well?
Yeah, I do. I do. I think he got an interview last year.
Mm-hmm.
Lou got one with the Giants, and Callie got one with the
Denver,
Raiders,
right?
I believe. Right? Was that the Raiders? I think.
Which one of them had? I thought one of them had an interview with Denver.
I was thinking Broncos.
Oh, that was Callahan.
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Callahan did have the interview with Denver. He got a long. He was there a long time. I think he was there about 5 years in Denver. So that's right.
Peyton, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's right. So yeah, I think he's got a. Obviously both guys got interviews, so they got. I think they would be the second time around. Their names would come up. I think Darren Simmons is a legitimate guy too. I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't got more play because I think John Harbaugh has pretty much it
proven
seems
that
like
special team guys really got it going on.
Yeah, And it seemed like it was a Gunther. I'm trying to remember some of those really good special teams coaches back in the day did not fare well as head coaches, and that kind of hurt them. That's kind of still hurt them a little bit. But I think Harbaugh has proven that you can, and it makes the most sense. You're the guy. I mean, you're the guy. The special teams coach deals with everybody in the team. He deals with situations. He deals with the clock. I mean, he does a lot of stuff that the head coach already does, and I'm just surprised that more guys don't. I think you saw the guy for the Raiders step in and did a good job last year. I think he was the interim guy, right? I think.
Versace, was that his name?
He did a great job, special teams guy.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm surprised Darren does. To me, they got three legitimate a coordinator. They got three legitimate, head coaching candidates.
I bet the Raiders wish they had him back.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I mean, they were fighting for the playoffs with that guy. They were in the playoffs with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Callahan worked a couple. I think he worked the year with the Raiders. I guess that's what I was thinking of when I said he had the interview there. But I know in Denver, that's where he's been the longest. He's also got the pedigree. His dad was a head coach with the Raiders. I guess that's what I was thinking too. Back in the early 02, 03 era. But I just hope they don't go, because listen, when back when the Bengals were going to 5 straight playoffs, Zimmer was the defensive coordinator, Jay Gruden was the offensive coordinator. Both guys became head coaches. Hugh Jackson became a head coach. I think Hugh Jackson's a hell of a head coach. I think he got a bad run in Cleveland. He got a bad deal in Oakland. But, Marvin had a good staff, and, it's tough when you lose those guys,
Yeah.
And I think when he lost Zimmer and Gruden, people forget they went to the playoffs 2 more years in a row after they left, and, Hugh stepping in and Paulie Gunther. So, good coaches mean good teams. And, but I think also too, that's a reason too, I think, why they brought in a guy with his own system. A guy like Zach, he's running his deal. He's the play caller. And I think that was part of the thinking. Well, look, if you have change on your staff, you don't keep changing the system every 2, 3, 4 years with the guy. You got your head coach. That's the system,
Yeah.
Probably a good way to go.
Now, Dale's got another question for you, and it kind of ties in with one of the questions I had, but we can talk about that later. What's one of your top 5 favorite guys to cover for the Bengals all time?
Yeah.
What is your top 5?
That's a great question. The first guy would probably have to be Boomer. He was, great guy. He was a great guy to deal with. Always available. But also too, just being able to cover guys to watch them play. AJ Green he might not have been the greatest of interviews, but he was a joy to watch play the game. Loved watching a guy like TJ Hushmanzada play because, he played angry. Mm-hmm. He was still pissed that he was taken in the 7th round back when he was playing. He could still, he could name all the guys he could name all the wide receivers that were taken ahead of him in 2001. So he was, he was a great guy to cover. Another guy maybe wouldn't give you the greatest of interviews, but just a class guy who played the game so well, Leon Hall. Who's kind of an underrated guy in history. Those are just some of the guys, that come to mind. It's hard to be 5, but certainly Boomer would lead the list, though. Boomer would lead the list. I thought he was just, he was really, always had something interesting to say, and he was, he really ran the. Hey, Ted, you want to get on camera? Here's my dog, Ted ball game right there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Ted, you're on the show, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Teddy ball game. I love that.
Love that. Yeah.
For obvious reasons. But Ted probably wouldn't have been too great to cover, would he? Probably as a Ted Williams tortured the sports writers. So
yeah.
But that's it's always been. But if you look, it's interesting, and it's a great question because you look at the guys who have played there and who have come analysts. Dave Lapham's one of the best guys to do it in the, who's a team man, one of the best guys to do it. I think, Chris Collinsworth is one of the best, Boomer himself. Solomon Wilcox is terrific.
Very good. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure I don't mean to miss anybody, but so these guys are great to cover. Solly, I remember, talking to Solly when he was always a go-to guy for me on that 1990 team, and Tim McGee's a guy that also you see him around doing some analyst local. I think he would have been really good if he had gone into it, but you see him around kind of locally here and there. Lewis Breeden's another guy. I didn't get a chance to cover Lewis Breeden, but I've gotten to know him and his alumni. What a terrific guy he is. Second all-time leading interceptor, right behind Kenny Riley. And I've had a chance to get to know a lot of these alumni guys, and they're great. I mean, Breeden's a great guy. He's so smart. You can see why he had 33 picks in his career. I mean, he's a smart guy. Kenny learned at the foot of Kenny Riley, who was a quarterback playing corner. And to get to know, oh, geez, another. I mean, how could I forget? There's Boomer, and then there's Willie Anderson. So probably my top two guys are Boomer and Willie Anderson to cover, and not far behind is Andrew Whitworth. Yeah. So these are guys. I mean, Willie could have been an analyst. Whit is an analyst. And
I love listening to him on Thursday nights, man. Yeah. With that Southern accent he has going on, and he's just talking football. I love it.
And Willie's just Willie's like a savant. I mean, he's so good at it. And he's great on Twitter. I mean, he's really been a factor influencing offensive line play on Twitter. Just really breaks down the game so well. It's really Paul Brown. And that's to me that's something that is that's a byproduct of the way Paul Brown. Paul Brown really he was a teacher first, and he really wanted smart players. That was something he really prided himself on. And I think Mike's Mike's the same way, trying to get smart people in here. And of course, I guess any organization does that. But I really, the fact that Collinsworth, Lapham, Sam Weish, all these guys became. I don't think it's any coincidence that they were hired by Paul Brown or came here when Paul Brown was around.
Right. Now we've got the all-important question right here, and I'm gonna preface this with saying, when it comes around this time of year, what is the first Christmas movie you ever watched?
First Christmas movie I ever watched?
And then he wants to know, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yeah, I get. Yeah, I mean, I have not seen it, but there's a Christmas plot in there, though, right?
Absolutely, it happens on Christmas Day.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Or during a Christmas party.
Christmas Eve,
Christmas Eve, yeah.
Sure. Yeah, but the greatest. I don't remember. Probably the first. I don't know. Is the Grinch Who Stole the Night the Grinch Stole Christmas is not a movie though, right? But that's probably the first thing I saw. The greatest Christmas movie of all time. Maybe the greatest movie of all time is It's a Wonderful Life.
That's a classic. Yep.
That's
which I did not see that though. I did not see that though until the 80s. Because for some reason it was not in circulation until the 80s. I think that's correct. I don't know why that is. But yeah, one of the great 1946, I think it was filmed right after. It was Jimmy Stewart's first movie right after the war. And a big thing was that it was his kiss with Donna Reed. Was his first like post-war kiss, and it was a big deal back then.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, he said, hey, listen, I know anything that's not important.
that is me. Yeah. And
you're good at Jeopardy.
In the chat, yeah. My wife's in
but I don't know where my cat keys are.
Yeah. Hey, that's absolutely. Hey, one of my go-tos. It's not even a Christmas movie, but is it 8 Crazy Nights with Adam Sandler? That's one of my favorites right there.
No. I got to admit, even though he's a
movie.
Holiday, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
even though he's a New England guy, I'm not a big Adam Sandler guy, though.
Oh yeah, man, he's got a lot of good ones out there. But yeah, everyone's saying, and Anthony was on our show last night, Anthony Kazenza, and he agreed with Greg on this one. Home Alone 2 is his favorite movie. Not Home Alone 1, but Home Alone 2 was definitely one of his favorites.
Yeah.
Now actually, James, you haven't got to ask a question in a while. So do you got anything?
Well, I'm trying. Well, we've kind of been talking about some older players, and so you've been covering the team since what, 1990? Is that right?
Off and on since '90, yeah, and then with the Bengals since 2000. Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say is your favorite team that you covered? Like what, like a year range or something? What was the team that you really just, try to take recency bias out of it, with the Super Bowl run just now, but
right.
What do you think was that favorite team of yours?
2009, no question.
Okay.
2009. There was a roster nobody wanted. Nobody thought they were going to do it. Nobody thought they were going to do a damn thing. They went 4-11-1. Nobody gave them a shot.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to move Witt to left tackle. Carson was coming off off an elbow injury. Nobody knew the defense. And they swept the division.
Was that Cedric Benson too?
Cedric Benson. Cedric Benson. I love Cedric Benson. He should have been on my list of one all-time favorite Bengals. You got to put Cedric on.
Yeah, that was. I'm trying to think here. That was the year before T.O. and
Correct.
That whole. Okay, yeah,
that's right.
Okay,
yeah, and it was on. They swept the division. They, I think, the Steelers were coming off a Super Bowl championship. They beat them twice. They beat him in the war. Probably my favorite game, the War of 18 to 12. They won the War of
1812. Yep.
18 to 12. The only touchdown was Bernard Scott's kick return.
Yep.
And Sed came off the couch. Nobody thought Sed could play.
Right.
He was just malcontent. He was this. He was that. And what a great when the chips were down player, because they ran the ball. They ran the ball because they wanted to protect Cedric. And they were a little bit concerned about their offensive line. But those guys, they ran the ball, and they protected that O-line. And Witt, of course, nobody thought Witt could play left tackle, right? May go in the Hall of Fame, should go in the Hall of Fame as a left tackle, right? Nobody thought Sed could play 1,100-yard runner.
He was the main offense in the playoff game too, wasn't he, against the Jets? Wasn't he the main offense?
Yeah. Oh, yes, right. He had 169 yards, right. I mean, Carson had a brutal game. That was maybe one of his worst games. And Darrelle Revis took Chad away, and that was a tough one. But yeah, Cedric had 169 yards. But Witt was Witt and Kyle Cook and those guys. Dennis Rowland kind of rotated a little bit with Anthony Collins. Andre Smith came in. He was a rookie. They play, they because they ran the ball and they were protected, and they wanted to protect Carson, so they ran the ball. And defensively, it was a classic Zimmer out. They would finish fourth in defense. Couldn't name a guy. You couldn't name a guy in that defense. But actually, two of the best corners in the league, Jonathan Joseph and Leon Hall. They were the MVPs of that defense. They were unbelievable.
Sounds similar to last year too.
They covered you man to man, and I challenge you to name anybody else on that defense. Dehaney Jones was the middle linebacker. Dehaney was supposed to be done. He couldn't play anymore. So it was just a fun season, and it was a sad season. It was Mike Zimmer's wife passed away suddenly. 3 days later, and 3 days later he stays with the team. He stayed and he coached 3 days after that, and they beat Baltimore with 14 seconds left, and then Chris Henry, that's the year Chris Henry passed suddenly, in the accident, and they had to go out to San Diego and play after they went to New Orleans and buried him. That was one of the most memorable days in Bengals history, going to that funeral in New Orleans. I mean, that season was just it had everything. It was unbelievable. Yeah, it's the roster nobody wanted. All those guys were left at that. Chris Crocker, came off the couch. Chris Crocker came off the couch in 2008. It was just a fun. And I guess because of my biases to the run game, it was
Tank John. I'm sorry. I was just going through and looking at the roster. Yeah. Tank Johnson. I don't really remember him, but
I think Jonathan Fanene led him in sacks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just the Zimmer.
Yep.
It was great coaching. It was great coaching. It was great playing. Marvin did a great job. I mean, they swept the division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's a cool answer. I love that.
Interesting team. Yeah.
I hate to go on about it because really,
that's why you're here.
Yep, absolutely.
But there's a book in there somewhere. There's a book in there somewhere. Right?
Right. Now, Dale had another question for you on here. Anyone on the team that you could see, on TV in the future? He's thinking maybe Ted Karras, Uncle Mike or Mike Hilton. Any guys
Dale,
like
all
that?
three guys are terrific possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Thomas is tremendous.
I've listened to just a few interviews of his this week, and I'm like, this guy's incredible.
Yeah, no, he's great. He's a great human being. I do a journalism high school. I do a high school journalism program with Aiken High School, and they write community events, during the on Tuesdays. And Mike Thomas, big supporter of that. Really good. Just a great guy. Hilton is he's a real pro. But again, this is, I think, one of the reasons it's a good team. It's a good team is you get smart guys. A guy like Jonah Williams is a very smart guy. Can talk the game. I think a guy, if you're talking about maybe analyst possibilities, you could go. There's a guy like Jermaine Pratt. He doesn't say much, but this guy, he may be the smartest football guy in the team. He's always watching tape, But a guy like Jesse Bates would be a good analyst. Von Bell would be a good analyst. I mean, these guys are just, that's why they're. It's one of the reasons they're good. They got a lot of smart. They got a lot of smart guys that could get in front of the camera.
That's a good question, Dale.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yes, very good question, Dale.
What was the one you had there?
I guess we got to get going on my Mike Thomas story because I know a couple of people have talked to him, so I'm going to have to roll out a Mike Thomas feature here.
Hey, absolutely. Now that was kind of one of my questions too. Was with all these guys, all these interesting characters we have in the locker room, what's one of your favorite locker room stories that you have?
Geez, I don't know. If it's a favorite, I probably can't say it.
Well, okay, one you can say. We should.
Yeah,
we should say,
I don't know. Just one happened. One happened on after the game against Carolina. I talking to Teddy Karras, and we're all around him, of course, and he motioned with his hand, and he knocked my tape recorder out, and it went on the ground, and the batteries came out. Which is, to me, it's just because I'm not very good technical, and I, oh man. And then Teddy bent down and said, okay, wait a minute. We're not going to do this until Butch is ready, until Hobbs is ready to go. And he was very kind. He helped me put the batteries in, and he didn't. The biggest thing was he didn't start the interview until my tape recorder was ready. So that was a very stand-up guy. That was a very kind thing. So, and I missed him, Ted Karras. Even though he's been here a year, he's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah. No, actually, Crip had a pretty good question on here. Since he was making fun of me and yelling at me in the chat, I figured I'd post one of his questions up. He wanted to know.
Keep it. Don't call me Mr. Hobson. Call me Geoff. Mr. Hobson's my father. No question. Tony Canigliaro. You guys probably don't remember him.
Nope.
He was 19 years old in 1964. He was barely out of Swampscott. He was barely out of St. Mary's High, I think, in Lynn. He grew up in Swampscott, Mass, about 10 miles away from Boston. Hit a home run in his first Fenway Park at bat. I still think he's the youngest man to lead the American League in homers. He hit when he was 20 years old. He led the American League in homers. Wow. He was playing when he was 19. I mean, he had 100 homers. He's the youngest American League that ever hit 100 homers. And he 1967, they're going for the pennant, and he got beamed. And he missed the last half of 67, didn't play at all in 68, and he came back in 69, and on opening day, he hit a 2-run homer in Baltimore. So yeah, he's one of these guys. He always had the flair for the dramatic,
Mm-hmm.
And he was my guy. He was my guy. And he unfortunately he passed away at the age of 45. He had a stroke at the age of 38, 37. He was in a semi-coma for about 8 years. Very sad. Very, very sad.
Yeah.
Star-crossed guy. You know, I got to actually have the doll there. My wife, she framed the picture for me. It is from the front page of the opening day, 1975. And Tony C had made another comeback. He had retired. They traded him to California in 71. And his eye went bad again. And he retired. But he came back in 75. And he made the Red Sox roster as a free agent. He made the opening. He was in the starting lineup opening day. And Hank Aaron was with the Brewers. Hank Aaron had been traded from the Braves to the Brewers to end his career. I don't know if he'd been traded. I don't know. But anyway, on opening day, and that was the day before, the opener, the guy who had the record and the guy who might have had the record, and there's a picture of them, and I got that framed in my office. Oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah, because I think if Tony C had played in that ballpark, he would have had 700 easy.
Yeah, and to be the youngest player to ever hit 100 home runs or whatever.
The youngest American leaguer. Yeah.
Okay,
I think Mel Ott has the record. I think.
I was about to say that's probably a record that he'll hold because you got all these young guys that come in and they normally don't get out of AAA or get out the minors until they're 20, 21 years old. Yeah,
I mean it's like I said, he got hit. He had 104 homers when he got hit in the eye, and he was 22.
Jeez.
So the and Rafi Devers was breaking a lot of his records of youngest guy to do this, youngest guy to do that. Tony C was like a lot. He was passing a lot of, and of course we haven't signed the guy yet, and I'll be screaming about that. I know there are people screaming we didn't pick anybody up at the trading deadline. I'm screaming that we don't have Bogarts or Rafael Devers signed up.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But we can't. The Bengals can't pick anybody up. They got to extend Burrow and Higgins and Logan Wilson.
Got a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of paychecks to sign.
Right.
A lot of Paycor paychecks.
That's why it's Paycor.
Absolutely. I do think we'd be remiss if we didn't say this year you were the 2022 Ohio Co-Sports Writer of the Year, along with Zach, I believe his name's Meisel, or is it Maisel?
Yeah, Zach Meisel. Yeah.
Meisel. He covers the Guardians for The Athletic. What does that mean for you to get that kind of recognition, to show that your work is really doing something?
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for saying that, and thank you for noticing that. I thought Teddy and Dahl were the only people that knew, but I appreciate that. But no, the big thing that it means to me is that, when I came over to Bengals.com, it was, kind of, people thought that it would be, that I was just going to come over and not do what I had done before at the Inquirer. When Mike Brown encouraged me, he said, I want you to keep doing what you're doing. I want you to do what you did for the Inquirer. And maybe my role has changed a little bit down through the years, but just because you work for a team doesn't mean that you don't have to write, quality stuff. So the fact that my peers saw that, even though I was working for a team, was quite, very, very heartening. Very heartening. I mean, Ohio. I mean, you look at the people that have won the award before. I mean, it's a great honor to be mentioned with those folks.
I would say Hal McCoy has won that, hasn't he?
That's a name I'm thinking about. I mean, that's Paul Dana Jr., Paul Doherty. I mean, Hal. I mean, it's the guys who have won the Sportscasting Award, Dan Horde, Paul Keels. I mean, these guys, to be mentioned with those guys is truly an honor, and it means quite a bit. It's really, but and it's something too that a lot of writers have done. I was like the first writer to leave a team. I mean, to leave a newspaper and go to a website. And I'll never forget what Mike Brown's, and because Mike approached me because I was covering the Bengals for the Inquirer, and he approached me about coming over about doing their internet site. And I said, Mike, my advice to you would be to find a person right out of college, maybe that knows more about computers, or I don't know about the internet. I don't know anything about that. And he goes, no, he goes, I think it's important that the fans have somebody that they know and trust, and have a name that they trust. And so, and the one thing I knew working for Mike Brown was he wasn't going to treat me badly, that he was a good man to work for. I try, I always wanted to be on the inside. As a reporter, you always want to be on the other side.
Right.
And he was right. It worked out. And thank you, Haas. Thank you, Sarah. And Mike gets criticized a lot, but I mean, he does. He's got a good vision of things, and because I remember him saying, "Look," he goes, "I don't know where this stuff is going to go," but he knew it was new, and he knew it could catch on, and he wanted to be on, the front end of it. So, that was the big thing too. Was I've got the vote for the Hall of Fame, which I cherish, the Cincinnati vote, which I cherish, and they had to, and they changed the they changed the guidelines for a Hall of Fame voter to include people who work for team websites, because I think they felt like, if somebody's been around long enough, and I think that's the only reason I'm probably the Hall of Fame guy, is because I'm old. Thanks, Greg. But that the fact that they would not include team reporters is good, I think, because you want to get as many thoughts out there, as many people as you can, to sit on that board.
Yeah, and that's great that you brought that up, because that's kind of one of the final questions I had, and maybe we'll get you out of here on this, but just your thoughts on, you've worked so hard on trying to get Willie, trying to get Kenny A, trying to get Ken Riley, all these guys into the Hall of Fame, and kind of, I guess, what's the feelings that you have seeing, Ken Riley finally getting that recognition that he deserves?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I had to. I saw that come over my phone. Well, no, a guy called me. He wasn't supposed to tell me, but he did, because he knew I wouldn't tell anybody. But I had to. I was doing my walk in the stadium. I cried. I cried because I'm thinking of Kenny Riley the second. I'm thinking Barbara, his wife.
Yeah.
And how sweet it is for them. He's close. He's close. He's almost there. All we need now. There he is. Yep. Kenny Riley, 65.
Cincy Bob's, right?
Yeah.
Yep, Cincy Bob's.
Yep.
That's a great one. Yeah, and it's he's close. I think he's going to get there. You got to get 80% of the final. He's there on the final ballot. It's a great thing. Very rarely are senior candidates denied when they get this far.
Right.
It's. I just feel. I'm sorry he can't be here to see it. I think it's good. I think it's good for Kenny Anderson, because I think in a weird way, the two Kennys knocked each other off on this thing. That they kind of split their votes, and now that one Kenny's out, I think the other one's going to get in. I don't know how long, but I'm amazed that there's been such blowback to Kenny Anderson. To me, he's the best quarterback who's not in. And Willie Anderson, I would love to see Willie get in this year with Kenny Riley. Willie's there's no question Willie belongs. And I think he's close. I think he's really close, but it's it's a long process. There's 49 people voting, and not everybody agrees. So I don't know.
Right.
It's polarization seems to be alive everywhere. So
yeah, and I'm not sure which Pete.
I think he's talking Pete Rose.
Pete. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. They seem pretty adamant on that. For the life of me, I don't know. You can get. Isn't gambling in baseball now?
As of January 1st, we're partnering with Betfred. As of January 1st, you can legally gamble on baseball, basketball, football, hockey, whatever you want to in the great state of Ohio. So
yeah, now I get it. I get the thing that was up, the sign that was up in the locker room. I get it. You can't, and it's terrible. gambling, inside. It's the worst thing you can have, right? It's probably the worst thing you can have in pro sports, right? But I doubt he's going to get in because of that. I think the steroid guy's got a better shot than he does. And why that is, I don't know. But but I think guys like Clemens and Bonds are. I would certainly, if I had a ballot, I would vote for Clemens and Bonds. I mean, I would do. I mean, because that's the way the game. I mean, they didn't police it.
Yeah,
they didn't police it. They didn't. There was no testing. There was nothing. They let them do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. There was nobody, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, they look the other way. Yeah.
So
it's crazy how much
Pete's an interesting case. It's an interesting case. I mean, some would say, look, he's paid his penance.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. The gambling thing that's a tough thing.
Yeah, and it's crazy kind of the policing that they have on. I mean, you just saw what happened with Calvin Ridley this year.
Yeah.
When there's a little gambling that's involved, they come crashing down hard on players.
You have to, man. You have to, or else it's going to be 1919.
Yeah. Yep. I hear you.
I mean, if it happened then, it can happen now.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's easy, and it can happen easier. You can do it on your phone. Back then, those guys.
That's one of the things that I appreciate so well, not having to go up to the sports book.
Yeah. I mean, that's. Didn't Ridley go back? Didn't Ridley get traded to the team that he bet on?
Yeah. He did.
Went to the Jags.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I do have one quick question that we were kind of talking about with Willie Anderson. Do you think that the Ring of Honor helps with that kind of stuff, getting into the hall? Like, is that something you think pushes a little bit?
I don't know. I just don't think so, because I voted today. I voted today for my top 20, to cut to 25, and not once did I think, is this guy in,
Okay.
Once did I think is Torrey Holt in the Rams Ring of Honor,
Right.
So, I just don't know if that's I think it's a great, I think we've got to have it. Whether that, and I think it helps.
Mm-hmm.
I think it helps. I don't know, it doesn't hurt, I guess I should say, because it does give them, I do think, like what this guy, what Haas is saying, I do think events, I do think the rally to the hall stuff, I do think that stuff. So I think it all helps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a definitive thing though that gets them over the top. But I think the Bengals have done a great job with the Ring of Honor, and it shows that they endorse these guys, and they're behind them all the way. So I think that part of it is good. I still think there's a lot of hard work to do with the Ring of Honor, even though they get in. But it helps. I mean, everything helps. What Jim Foster did with Horty and Lapp and those rallies, and the ceremonies, because it does get play. It does get good play, and the voters do see that. So I think I think every little bit helps.
Well, Geoff, man, we appreciate you coming on to us.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You were a wonderful interview. So we'll let you get back to your family and enjoy your bye week, man.
Thanks, fellas. Enjoy it. Be safe hunting, and good luck against the Steelers. Thanks for having me on. Hope to do it again soon.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Thank you, Geoff.
See you,
Cheers. Wow, what an interview.
Oh, man. Fantastic. Yeah, we weren't as wild tonight, as last night maybe, but yeah, I'm telling you, guy is just full of knowledge.
Just everything that the questions that we'd ask, and then he would take it and just expound on it and just keep going and going and going. It was great. Oh my gosh, all the knowledge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it was funny. I was sitting here, right? We were sitting at the Ring of Honor event, and I happened to see him. I walked up to him and I was like, "Hey, I'm Derek from Bengals and Brews. We'd love to have you on." He's like, "Absolutely. Here's my number." So that's how that was how we linked up on that. But yeah,
that is too cool.
He's wonderful. His wife, she's great as well. We were actually getting kicked out of the event when we ran into them. They're like, "Hey, you guys got to go," because it was over by then. And like, all right, I'll stop boondoggling. You know, I was out there passing those freaking Bengals and Brews koozies like they were candy, but like candy on Halloween. But
it worked.
Hey, real quick, I'm glad you were on here because we got something that we do called shotgun betting, and I believe I believe Dale, he lost his bet, and you know, I think that's why he decided not to come on tonight, because he didn't, you know, he got so hammered last night. He's like, I don't want to have to chug a beer live on the show tonight. But I'll tell you what, I'll let you do a video. And you can post it on Twitter. How about that?
Well,
that way you
here, I'll do this. Give me 1 second. I'll grab a glass and I'll pour it in there. Just give me one hot second. Hang on.
All right. Well,
you just,
hey, I
talk
love
amongst
that shirt
yourself.
too, by the way. You know, that thing looks pretty.
Had to rock it. I can still hear you too, so you can ask me something if you want.
But yeah, that was one thing. You know, right as the game was about to start, I got a notification, and it said Dale said he did his shot already. He must have done it last night on the show.
He did several.
Oh, on Sunday night. Okay. But I do remember that now when we went on there. But yeah, I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I look down at my phone. I get this notification, and it's Cincy James, and he says, "Whatever the Burrow yards is, I'm taking the over." So
yeah,
I don't think anybody thought. Fortunately, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take the Bengals and the points, or the Bengals with, I'm going to give up the points more or less.
Yeah. Did you win yours?
Yeah, I took the
Bengals. You won yours. Yeah.
7, so.
Okay, yeah. So I obviously did not. So
there it is.
I think it's still kind of cold. So just
hold on. We'll do something real quick. We need to have a here. We'll do this, and the moment it comes back to you, you can chug. Are you ready?
Okay, yeah, let's do this.
All right. There it is. Look at him. He took it like a champ. Man, David Bakhtiari don't have nothing on you.
Oh, man. There it is. I paid my bet. I did it last week, too. I did it on the Rally. The Rally After Dark show, I think.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. There it is. Feel it. All of this, man.
Yes, we definitely need a shotgun betting
chug intro. There it is.
Yeah, not really intro.
Yeah, you guys chug like as your intro. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what you do. Just every show, bam.
Oh man, we love it.
I'm gonna try to get Bengal Dad to do that on Rally Around the Natty. I'm sure that'll work.
Yeah. Well, hey, real quick, James, go ahead and plug everything you guys got going on.
Let me get rid of that air.
The air.
Sorry. Okay, so. I am one of the co-hosts of Rally Around the Natty. Normally Mondays, Wednesdays, 7 o'clock, roughly 7 o'clock is what time we go on. Monday, we kind of preview the weekend, the Bengals game. We talk about that. Wednesdays, we normally go, gosh, I got more, sorry. We normally do Thursday night preview. We do game picks for the week coming up. Mm-hmm. Santori really hasn't been keeping track. I don't know if he's going to go back and watch them all to figure out how everybody's doing, but maybe we'll get that later on in the season. But and then Greg, we've got this awesome segment that Greg does. We're calling it Lutherisms. So he is we're giving him a player, several players from whether it's from the Thursday night game or from the Bengals game or maybe old school players from a team that's playing, and he compares that person to food. Like Andy Dalton is a grilled cheese sandwich.
Cheese. Okay, yeah,
yes.
I get that. Yeah,
yeah, because there's sometimes he's really good, sometimes he's just horrible. I'm sure you've had a bad grilled cheese before. I have.
Yeah, Andy Dalton in primetime is like burnt toast and like the worst freaking just
one slice of great value.
Yeah, no butter.
Yeah.
Soggy. Yes, there is soggy.
Right. So we've got a lot of stuff going on over there. We're doing a personalized jersey giveaway from Cook's Sporting Goods. So all you have to do to get entered into that is send myself or Greg Luther or Santori or Bengal Dad. Just send us a copy of your receipt of at least a $10 donation to any charity of your choice. Doesn't whatever you want to send it to, just make sure that we get a copy of it. I think we're doing every $10 increment gets you an entry into the jersey of your choice, personalized from Cook's Sporting Goods. So I think Santori said we've raised pushing $750 so far for charity. So obviously we're trying to get that. We're trying to push that to 1,000. Try to get more than that, obviously, but 1,000 is kind of the unofficial goal for us. We want to get that up there. But yeah, so I'm at Cincy James 83. You can follow me on Twitter. Obviously we're at Rally Round Natty is the Twitter handle for us. Go follow everybody else on the show. Greg Luther, I think Gregor9 is his, at Santori Miles, and at Bengal Dad. So, or it's Bengal Dad at DAJ Merc, MERC. Okay. Sorry. So just make sure to go follow all of us and go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get our followers up. So
absolutely. Well, I will end this on this. Everybody, just real quick, if you haven't done it yet, go over to betfredsports.com/Ohio/Bengals_boys2 to sign up for Betfred and get your free $20 Fred bet. And we've got some awesome giveaways right now. I don't know if you saw the T. Higgins. We'll ignore the Nick Chubb jersey because we don't give a shit about that one, but Jules is doing their U.S. Gambler. They're doing a jersey giveaway, and if you use this promo code and then screenshot it and submit it under Jules's little thing that she's doing, you can be entered in to win that T. Higgins jersey. So we got all kinds of giveaways that we're doing. So go to that. Once again, it's betfredsports.com/Ohio/Bengals_boys2 and get signed up. And I mean, dude, we're getting close. We're like less than a month and a half, or around a month and a half away from legal sports betting in Ohio, and me looking for a new house because mine will probably end up. Now Sarah's on here, so I shouldn't have said that, but mine will end up foreclosed on because I am a degenerate. I love gambling. I love all that stuff.
You'll have 3 mortgages on your house.
Exactly. No, I'm just, but everybody have a wonderful night tonight, and we'll end this with a hooday.
Hooday!
Single stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Who they in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earned our stripes, we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, hit the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. With the pounce, make the city howl. Now we feasting now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes. Cincinnati, we gon' rise and up. In the jungle, we unite and up.
Anyway, that's the end of the show.